Life, it is what we make it, not what makes us. When you leave this earth, will you be remembered for the things that you've accomplished or the things that you failed at trying to accomplish? You see, it's all about synergy, a whole being greater than its individual parts. So instead of focusing on just the negative or focusing on only the positive, we focus on it all so that people see not what we've done, but also where we came from.
I mean, before education came into the picture for me, you know, it was the fast life. It was getting money, the girls, the lifestyle, you know, drinking, partying.
I was living the wrong way, walking down every path that isn't the right one.
Before education was an option, my life was just headed towards complete destruction, not only of my life, but everybody that surrounded me.
I was just destroying people around me, the lives, the relationships, just breaking everything down, not helping provide and build, you know.
I was a mess emotionally and just not a positive member of my community at all.
Education, it had already been kind of like implanted in my mindset for my family, but I just chose different paths, and you know, I chose the streets, you know, because it was more familiar with me, being brought up in a particular environment that it was just normal.
In prison, emotionally, I mean, you know, most guys, you know, you have a girl or a couple girls, you know, that you're dealing with, and you know, you have everything that you think you could ever want when you're in the streets. But when you come to prison and all that's taken from you, and you know, the girl stops writing, and you know, the only person that's coming to see you is your mother or maybe another family member. You know, it puts you in an emotional whirlwind, something that, you know, words I feel can't accurately describe.
It made me a stronger person though, emotionally, because I knew that I had to change my decisions and start making better choices if I didn't want to feel that way again. So even though I was hurt for like my whole entire prison sentence, like, it just made me a stronger person and want something different.
Prison emotionally. See, when you're locked up, your emotion is a downfall.
My feelings while I was in prison, I was angry, not only at myself, but also at the injustice that I was being faced with. As a woman in prison, I wasn't given the same opportunities as the men, and I was well aware of that. I also felt that I was being discriminated against because of my age, because there is an age limit in prison. As far as if you're a certain age or above a certain age, you can't pursue an education. You're just not allowed.
Mainly it was, I think it was a time of confusion and kind of like a soul-searching time for me. So I don't know, as time went on, after a few years, I learned about the Mountain View program towards the end of my incarceration, and that seemed to really, more than just emotionally, but as far as my emotions were concerned, it uplifted me because it gave me a lot of hope. You know, suddenly I had a clear direction, a clear possibility that I might be going, a direction I might be headed in after I was released, and I didn't have previously. So, you know, the emotions that I experienced previous to that were, you know, confusion, uncertainty, were kind of being replaced with this hope, with this excitement, of this possibility of actually going to a university coming out of jail.
When I met Professor Rody, it was just like all of a sudden, like, I got a future. You know, he told me, he said, look, you can go to, he said, the first paper I ever turned in his class, he said, you can go to Rutgers University and I could get you admitted. And then the Rutgers people came through, and right before that, the riot came through, and I'm like, man, shoot, I go to the riot, they let me in there. But then he said Rutgers, and I was just stupid, and it just seemed like after that, after he told me that I went to Rutgers, there wasn't nothing nobody else could tell me or do to me. You know, I stopped thinking about image. You know, I was always big on image. I don't really consider myself a person that gets easily angry, but I always was big on the way that people perceive me. So I will fight or do something else because of the way people see me. But once Professor Rody told me I was going to Rutgers, I didn't have to worry about that anymore. I had a future, and my future was more important than anything.
When I heard about the Mountain View program, I was extremely excited. I still remember that day when I met Professor Roden. I called my mother and said, "Mom, I'm going to Rutgers." And she didn't know how to take it. I mean, she was happy and she thought I was crazy, but you know, then she got a call the same night from Professor Roden, who was even more excited than I was, to tell her that he was going to do all he could to get me admitted into Rutgers University, and he really thought that I had the potential to be successful.
When I heard about the Mountain View program, all I could do was just smile, be happy, and I didn't take it completely seriously. I was like, all right, a university? I'm in jail. So I called my mother. I told her this is real positive. They're considering that I could get into a university, but you know, it's a 50-50, well, 60-40 chance that I really get it. I took it as something positive for me, that I actually have a chance.
When I heard of the Mountain View program, I was shocked because I didn't believe that I could even be a part of Rutgers. I was just thinking in my head, wow, that's a radical concept. From what I came from to now, you know, before I wasn't thinking like, oh, I could maybe try to be, you know, a student of a college, university, you know, but now I'm here. So my outlook was kind of dim. I didn't really have the hope, you know, but through some people that I've met that are part of the program now, gave me the inspiration, like, listen, just ride it out.
Education in the Department of Corrections is of the utmost importance because, I mean, just from my experience there, more than 70% of people in prison don't even have a GED. So obviously there's a strong correlation with education and incarceration, and the level of education will definitely minimize the risk of someone being incarcerated, and it opens up so many more opportunities for people who didn't have the opportunities growing up. I mean, just to be educated, to come out, to have the ability to have a GED and go to a community college. I mean, it just keeps you occupied, it keeps you in a new location, it refocuses your goals, and it does so much for the person in their life and in their future.
I believe that you need to get involved with MVP. I'm speaking to all Rutgers students out there, because if you actually want to get out there and make a difference in people's lives in a real and tangible way, you're looking at people right now whose lives have been changed through this program because people went out of their way to go into the institutions, to teach, to mentor, to offer this hope to people. If you want to do something like that and actually make a difference and be involved with a grassroots organization like this, and this is the program for you, and there's nothing like this on campus or in New Jersey, really. It's exciting and it's fulfilling, I believe, more than a lot of other organizations, because you really are you're gonna be working with people, and you're gonna be, you know, experiencing firsthand the change that these people can often see.
It costs $35,000 a year to lock up someone. Out of that $35,000 a year, where is that money going? It's not like you in jail with meat coats on and leather shoes. You in jail with some boots that cost less than $1 to make, and an outfit that was sold and stitched at another prison. The bread is made at another prison. The floors are cleaned by another prison. You ain't got housekeeping in jail. So where's all this money going? $35,000 a year per person. It costs less than that for me to go attend a 4-year university.
Rutgers students to get involved, and it's really important that they do, because as ex-felons and people with criminal records, we are very limited to the people that we can reach, and the people that we really need to reach are the people who are incarcerated, and in many circumstances we can't go back into those institutions. We really need a lot of help with the student population, people who have never been incarcerated, to go in there and help these people, because we need to give them the chance that we're being given.
When you
hear about a person that's been in jail, when you're looking at the media, when you're looking at TV, the picture that's painted of us, the situation that we were in, the picture that's painted of us is a negative picture. When we were incarcerated, we came into the system with that picture ingrained in our mind. We thought that we would have to come in and fulfill some type of role or be some type of person, and we found out that that's not the truth. People need to know that the people that are in the jail systems are people. They're not animals, they're not monsters. And this is what Mountain View is about. If a person goes into jail and leaves jail with the same stigma, they'll come out with no opportunities, then the only thing that they can do is go back into the life that they lived before. We are here to show that there is a different life, that we can have a real life and be real citizens of the United States. We are not animals and we are not failures. We're not a failure story, we're a success story. We want to create more success stories.
A movement and a seed that can be planted to allow others to feel like there is an alternative to their lifestyle.
Mountain View to me is just a promise to change in my life, and the opportunity to offer that change to other people that might need it.
Mountain View program is freedom to me.
Mountain View saved my life.
Free through education. You know, this gave us an option to stay free, to stay out here.
MVP is hope that you can touch and see. There's a gift that needs to be given back.
MVP is about bringing opportunity to people who have lost hope.
Grind mode took incarceration to influence the reformation. Rehabilitation slowly rose doing meditation. Had a revelation I could make it with dedication. I feel anticipation while awaiting my destination. Not a medication in this world can soothe me. The pain in my life creates the passion that moves me. I don't need a cosign or camp to approve me. Within the next 2 years, people will soon see if I'm the last hope.